everyone, welcome to engineering. Today we're going to start planning out our marble maze today. So to do that, we're going to actually draw like a measured drawing of it so we can get an idea of where all the walls and holes will be before we start jumping into Fusion 360. Otherwise, it's going to be a real nightmare trying to figure out everything. All right, so let's get to it. I'm going to set my camera up so you can see what I'm working on. You're going to need a ruler, you're going to need a pencil, and you're going to need a piece of paper. So accumulate those three things, come back, and let's get started. So we need to lay out a grid that's going to allow us to design our marble maze. So at this point, you got to make a decision. There's two sizes to do. There's this size, this is the small size. And then the large size is actually two more, what is this called? Two more lanes wider and two more lanes longer. And then that'll give us a really large one. That's actually just two more, but you're like, that's not very many, but it's a lot because you get two more on this side and two more on this side. So it's like it's a huge difference in the number of lanes and things you can do with it. So you have to make this choice now, whether you want to plan for a small one or a large one. All the large one is just a little bit more work. It's not that big a deal, but it will just be more time. So how into it are you? Your choice. All right. So if you're going to lay out this grid, if you're going to do a small one, so small, you need to lay out your grid. Well, let me do this first, actually. If you have graph paper, life is easier with graph paper. Grab some graph paper, and instead of laying out a grid, you'll do 2 or 3 squares per lane. And I'll talk about what the lanes are in a second. But, so yeah. And we'll talk about that in a second when I get this drawn out. So first of all, if you're using this regular piece of paper like me, you're going to go 1 centimeter from the left side and make a mark right there. And then you're going to go 1 centimeter from the bottom and make a mark in the other direction. So you should have a little border here showing me 1 centimeter from this side, 1 centimeter from this side. I'm going to keep my drawing inside there. And then the same thing on all 4 corners. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to go about 1 centimeter down and make my mark. And then I'm going to measure actually 1 centimeter down and make a second mark right there. And that's the upside corner there. And then the same thing on this one as well. I'm going to go about 1 centimeter up. I think that's about right. And then I'm going to measure it from this direction and make the other one. So this way we can create a grid that is, in the center of our paper or on the paper in the, not crooked and weird. So what we're doing is we're creating graph paper. Let me show you kind of what we're going to be making. So this is sort of the end-ish product. Yours will be different than mine, but you can see all these grid lines are the lines that I've drawn in order to set this up well. All right. So now once I have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, to keep my ruler parallel, I'm going to go from here to here. And this is where you need your first decision to be made. If you're doing an 8, so an 8 by 8 maze, you make a line every 2.5 centimeters, every 2.5 centimeters. If you are doing a 10 by 10 maze, so if you're doing the large maze, you're going to do a line every 2 centimeters. So you're going to draw yours a little smaller than everyone else. You're going to create more grids. So I'm going to do the 8 by 8 to show you. You know what? I'm going to do the 10 by 10. So if you're doing the 8 by 8, make sure you're going up by 2.5. So I'm going to make a mark every 2 centimeters. 2, 4, 6, 8. If you're doing the 8 by 8, you'd put a mark at 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, 15, 17.5, 20. Notice the pattern that falls there. But I'm doing mine by 2, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the more work one. I don't want to show you how to be lazy. And I'm going to keep going until I get 10 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was my last one right there. Boom. That's the edge of my box. Now, if you're doing the 8x8, you're going to end up being right about there as well, because you have fewer of them but wider. So they'll be pretty similar in size. Now I'm going to do the same thing on all 4 sides. So I'm going to flip over and do the top side next. I'm going to start from this edge over here. So actually I'm going to do it this way, sorry. And I'm just going to make my little marks. This is going to give me the grid to start up. I'm lining up from the top of there to the top of there to keep my ruler parallel. And then I'm going to do 2 centimeter marks. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. That should give me 10, because 10 times 2 is 20. I could have done that down here instead of counting. That's funny. All right, so now what I'm going to do is create my 2 centimeter marks on the 2 sides as well. So on this one, I'm going to do it this way. Line up, starting on the bottom. Just make sure when you're making your marks that if you start on the left, you start on the left on the other side as well. So on this side, when I turn my paper, I'm going to start on the left. I'm going to count from the bottom up and need to do the same thing on both. And for this one, I'm going to need almost the entire piece of paper. My lines are going to go way up to there. And down here, I'm going to do the same thing. Again, I started from the left and went to the right, so I'm going to start from the left, go to the right. I wouldn't want to flip my paper over and start over here. I wouldn't know where to start. Now I've got all my lines set up for my grid that I'm going to use. So the next thing to do is simply to start connecting the dots. So I'm going to go, connect the first ones, the second ones, all the way across, all the way over. Now that we have this, if you have graph paper, it's so much easier using graph paper. So just figure out how many, if you want 10 rows, how many boxes per row you can do. Probably 2 or 3, but try each one and see which one fits 10. You want to make it as big as you can. It's just easier to work with if it's a little bigger. And then the same thing in this direction. So keep it the same. So if you use 2 boxes per grid here, do 2 boxes here, and then draw in the actual grid lines on the graph paper so that you can see which ones are the real walls and which ones aren't. Now, what we're looking at here obviously aren't walls. They're just the places where walls can be. So we'll never put a wall halfway between in a box. It'll be on one of these lines, all the things. Next thing to do is figure out your start and finish. When I made this first maze, I thought it would be kind of fun to have the start right here and the finish right next to it, 1 box away. Like, if you could just jump over this wall, you'd be done, right? So you have to go through this whole craziness and all this effort just to get back where you started. So I thought that would be kind of funny and mean, I guess. But you can do yours differently. You can start in one corner and in the other. You can start in the middle and work your way out. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to say start here. Now, everything I do at this point, I'm going to do very lightly because I'm going to make mistakes and want to change stuff around. So I'm not going to make really dark lines. I can always darken the lines at the end. Now, the next thing I need to do is figure out kind of what direction I want the ball to travel. So my start here, I think I'm going to do like a spirally motion. I think I'm going to kind of go around in this direction and then come back to it in this direction. I think that would be fun to do. So I'm going to start with a wall here. I'm just going to sketch in, not very dark, but just kind of lightly. I'm going to sketch in walls around this to where I'm going to force you down this path first. And maybe I don't want that one, so I'm going to erase that one real quick. And I'm going to say, I'm going to go like here. Now, there are some design features. Let me show you these design features. So there's a forced path. Now you have to think about when you're designing how hard you want this to be. This actually ends up being a very hard maze. I put a lot of holes in a lot of places that are unhelpful. So you can make it more and less demanding on someone by putting the holes in different places. So let me show you what the logic is. So we start here, and as the marble rolls out, one of the things that's easy to do is roll it into a corner. So I put a hole in the corner to say, nope, you can't just roll it into the corner really easily. If I put that hole over here on this side, like right in here, it would have been very easy to tip the thing sideways and just roll the ball to the hole and then roll it this way. So I put one here, so as you start going, you have to kind of slow down and make this turn without slamming against a wall. You can go against this wall and then let it fall this way. So some people will have the marble. Let me grab a marble and show you right here. So one thing would be go like this, but then you're going to fall into the hole. The other thing to do is put it against this wall and then let it slide that way, but then you fall into that hole. So you have to be careful not to go too far. So just thinking about where you put your holes makes it easier to harder. So this one, the trick is to go against this wall and then go around here, and then to be able to hit this wall or keep it against this wall, but keep it slow, because if it goes fast, it goes into that corner. And then when you make this turn, when you make this turn, a place the ball likes to go is that corner. So I put a marble in there because letting it fall against that corner would make it really easy. They could just trap it there and stop and then regroup. But in this one, you have to go around that corner and then, control it before moving into the next section. So that's why I put one here too, so you couldn't go here and flop into this corner. You're forced to kind of keep it in the middle here. That makes this section pretty tricky. So this is an open section. So I made it two lanes wide. So people have to actually control it. They don't have any walls to work with. Down here, you have walls to work with. So once you get around this corner, you can trap the marble against this wall, go around this one into that corner. Had I put a hole in that corner, this would have been a really hard way to go around. Now, once you're in this corner and you're trapped and you're stopped, I gave you a really hard thing to do. You've got to get your marble somehow to go right through there without trapping it against a wall or anything. And once you get through there, you can get sloppy and fall right into this corner. Again, had I put a hole in that corner, it would have been really cruel and really hard. Probably too hard. Now, this next one's tricky too, because you get to here, and then you got to come around this corner, and then you've got another corner you can trap in. Okay, so every time you give someone a corner to trap in, it makes life a little easier. Now, this next one I found is an incredibly hard one to get around. You really have to carefully roll that marble right across that face there without being able to really trap it against anything. This is a really hard one to put the hole right in the middle of the wall like this. This next one's super easy because you can just trap it to that corner and then trap it to this corner. And then this next one ends up, I was hoping it would be hard. So you get out here in the middle and you've got to choose to either go this way or that way. Well, what ends up happening, the easier way to go is to trap it against this wall, slowly roll it against this wall until you get it right about there. Whoops. Until you get right about there, and then just kind of dump into that corner. So one thing I could have done to make this harder would be to force you through this route by putting another hole like right there. And then also, if I want to make this really hard in through here, I would take away this corner to drop it into. So even when I go through this one through here, I want to drop that corner. Had I put a hole there, you couldn't do that. You'd have to go and control it. Whoa. You'd have to control it through there and then control it through there without ever using that corner. So remember, the more corners you give people, the easier life is. And then I can use that corner. I can use that corner. I can use this wall. I can drop, ooh, got to there too fast. So on this one, that was the idea. You'd come off this one. If you came off this wall, it would come to there and then slide into here. So you got to control it and then drop it back to here. And then, I don't know if you can see this. I'll use a pencil. You got to come through here, drop it to this way, here, drop it to this way. And now the temptation is to drop into the corner, but I took the corner away from you. So you got to control it around here. And then you have to control it sort of all the way through here. You can use the walls, but they're not very helpful. It's better just to stay in the middle. So this is a really difficult section which after doing all these sections to get another difficult section, it's like, ah! So again, too wide. And then I come down through here, and then I against the wall, against the wall, against the wall, and then to the finish. These last three, because they're so close together, are actually pretty tricky as well. So these farther ones apart, this is a pretty intermediate, easy one to do. So you can see some different things. There are tight turns with holes in corners, without holes in corners, so super easy. Medium. This one in the middle of a wall where there's no wall to help you is tricky. These open areas are tricky, made harder by taking away the corners if you want to. You can imagine if I didn't take this corner away, this would be pretty easy. You would just come in here and go like that, to that corner, and then you're out almost. So make sure you don't leave too many corners open, or someone's going to just blow through your maze. It won't be fun if it's not challenging. All right, so those are some of the sort of design ideas that we're going to have. So as you go through designing your maze, you can just start making some choices about what you want the ball to do. So I'm going to take it here. So it's going to start here. And then, you know what? No, I do want it to come down too. You're going to just design yours. So I'm going to have it come down too, because I want to put a hole here. I want to make this first one a little bit tricky. It's going to come off and hit a hole in the corner. So you're going to have to go around this inside edge. So there's my next turn. And there's my turn. So my ball's going to come, do a dash line for my ball. You got to turn through here. All right. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to do a big opening up here and then do like a finish down here. So let's actually bring them through some obstacles. So maybe I'm going to put a wall here. Oh, one thing to do when you're building a wall, each wall has to touch another wall for support. Like I wouldn't want to put a wall out in the middle by itself, because then it's just poking the bottom and it's going to tip over, it's going to break off. So it needs to be touching a second wall at 90 degrees like this in order to have some support. All right, so I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. I'm going to turn this one hard. I'm going to do this. Right like that. And I'm going to be mean and put another one right here and another one right here. So now the ball is going to have to go here, drop here, and then come off here. And I'm going to give them this corner. This will be the first corner they're going to get to use. It's going to be like, boop, they're going to stop there. And then this is going to go, yeah, it's going to go, I don't know, I'm just making stuff up, right? I can always erase it and do it over. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to drop this one this way. Not that far. I'm going to leave that one open. That's where we're going to come through at. And then I'm going to give them this corner, so I'm going to make this one really tricky. I'm going to put it right there. So they're going to get that corner. They're going to have to come out of this one. I'm going to give them this corner to just give them a little bit of a break again, because this is going to be really mean at this point. So they're going to come into here, and it's going to go out to there. So that's my path so far. And then I'm going to turn them one more time into an open, so they're going to come through here. So this keeps going like this. And they're going to come into here. And then they're going to come up through here. And this is going to be a too wide opening. So now I'm going to do some mean stuff in here. So once they get to here, I'm going to give them this other corner as well, because I'm going to be kind, because it's about to get ugly. So now in here, I'm going to put a circle, but instead of putting it against the wall here, I'm going to put it out in the middle. And I'm going to put out another one in the middle here. And then another one in the middle here. And then watch how mean this is. The wall goes down like this. And then it goes like this. So this is my outside walls now. And then, so you're going to have to come, boom, from here. You're going to hit this wall probably. But I'm going to take away this corner from you. So you gotta maneuver to this one. You can't just slop into the corner here. You gotta maneuver here. You gotta go around this one, go around this one to get to here. But if I give you the corner, this one doesn't matter, right? So if you come around here and hit here and just slop into the corner, this one you don't have to try to avoid. So I'm going to take away that corner as well because I'm just going to be mean. All right, so that means this wall continues here. So I want to block all of this. And you've got this one little opening right there. Although it might be kind of cool looking actually to leave this as an opening so that it looks like you can get through there, but you can't. So it looks like you could just kind of pop through, but you can't. So it's being blocked by that hole only. All right, and then let's see, what else? You know what, that might be interesting here too, actually, to have fewer walls. So I'm gonna end that one right there because that's gonna force you, instead of using the wall all the way down and falling into the hole, you're gonna have to fall sooner. I don't know. That looks interesting. And then so I'm gonna open this whole space up here. I'm gonna keep it open out to there. I'm gonna do a double wide coming down this way. So this is going to be one big open space that I can mess around with, and you've got to get out. Yeah, you're gonna have to get out the kind of straight across from where you came in. You might be like, well, that's going to be really easy. You can just roll the marble right along this wall and be out. So I'm like, okay, I agree. So I'm going to put a hole here. So now you're going to have to come in, you're going to have to turn. See, now you could turn and go around it. That would be really easy still. So I'm going to put another hole here. And then another hole here. Now I'm going to just design the maze using holes instead of walls. So it's going to come here. I'm going to naturally want to drop into the corner. So I'm going to take this corner away. I'm going to take this corner away just because I'm going to be super rude about it. And then I want you to have to come around like this, back like this, and then out. Is that going to be too easy? Maybe I move this one to here. Make it a tighter turn that's required. So now you got to turn hard here, and maybe another one here. Now in the exact position of these holes, I can adjust them in Fusion really easily. So I don't have to worry about getting it just right. So here's one, and here's one. I just need to close that off. So now you're forced to go around without touching any walls really. You have to go around and then back in. I mean, you could drop against this wall, which that might be too easy. So I'm going to try to figure out where would that place be where the ball would drop against the wall. It would be like right about here. So I'm going to try and put another one there. So now I'm going to make you skate through this gap, which means this is probably going to need to move around, move a little bit farther. I want to give you a little bit of distance here, because I want it to be hard, but I want it to still be fun. I don't want to be like it's impossible to do and it's no fun to do. So now you can have an option of dropping against this wall, but now if you do that, you've got to navigate way back out here to get out again. So I think that might be fun to have that sort of like that. And then I'm going to take away this corner from you, because I don't want you dropping in here and flopping over real fast. And then I'm going to do another one like this here. So I'm going to do one here, and there's my outside wall coming down this way. That one I know is going to be there. And then I'm going to put a wall here. I'm going to force you out. So I'm going to come through here, here, and then I don't know. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to create a little pocket here with a hole in it, like right in the center of this. So now if you roll down like too far into this corner, you're in big trouble. Like you've got to turn before you get there and get out of that one. That's just like a little trap right there. And then this one, I might create, well, I need to come out of this one, right? So I'm going to need to, so I want to take you through this. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. And I'll give you another taste. I'm going to give you a taste of no corners in this turn. So this turn, you're going to have to skirt the wall here, right? And then you have to make this hard turn right there. So I'm going to go back to doing dashed lines instead of those. To show the path of the ball. Which means now I'm going to use up this space. So I think I'm going to use up this space with, so I'm going to do a wall over here for this outside piece. And then down to here. All right, so I think I'm getting there now. I think I'm almost there. So I make this turn here. It comes down, and now I want to force you. But I'm going to leave this whole space wide open, no walls here. And I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to mess you with you with holes. So I'm going to actually sketch out the path I want the ball to go, and then I'm going to place holes to make the path have to go there. So it's going to come. Do boom, boom, boom. So yeah, so I'm going to put a hole here. I'm going to put, I don't want to put too many holes actually, or I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble. I'll make my bottom pretty weak. Oh, it doesn't matter, because we'll have a solid bottom underneath. So one there, maybe one there, and one there. I can keep a pretty good space between here, because trying to thread that with a ball, if you can do that, hey, more power to you. You know, you just made it out. So that's going to mean the ball's going to go here, but it doesn't need to go up there. So yeah, I could just put another circle here and one more here. And when I get in there, I might put a circle here and here to make this a really tricky. Like you have to go around all these holes and then back around this hole. Like you can't touch a wall basically the whole time almost. And then I'm going to put a hole here, making you come back off. And then yeah, and then I don't know, like a hole here. And then so you got to make a turn, or you can go this way. So if you hit this wall right here, you've got another rough hole right there that you have to turn back into. This one has a hole here, so you could also go this way. So now I'm just making a minefield of holes. And then, of course, there has to be one here somewhere and here somewhere. And then, so you're going to be able to go bloop, 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 and finish, or here and finish, and here and finish. And I'm going to take this corner away as well. Whoa, that's a lot. So yours will look different than mine. That's the way mine ends up looking. And it's just a matter of, you know, designing it. The one thing you want to make sure of is that your design doesn't have any walls that are by themselves. So for example, if I left this wall here and there wasn't this side wall, this wall would just break off over time. It needs to be connected to this wall so these two can be strung together. And I think I have that. I don't think I have any wall that's just out in the middle by itself. So I wouldn't want to do like this. I wouldn't want to put a wall like right here. Right? Because then that wall is going to be hit. Now I could put a wall there if I put another one right here. Right? I could do that. Oh, that's not a terrible idea. I might do that. I might put a wall actually here and here. That'll give you a little place where you can actually come in and stop and then come back out. And I think stopping and coming back out is actually pretty tricky. So I think I might do that. Although if I do that, I'm going to want to put a hole here. So this is just what it is, right? It's just a matter of playing with stuff, right? So when you come out, you've got to control yourself. You can't just flop against the wall. And actually, I'm going to put the hole like right here, sort of even with that side. So you flop out. You'll flop out in between two holes, or you'll have to just come out in a controlled way to get through this opening right there. All right, so that's it. What I'm going to do real quick, just to help myself, you don't have to do this, is I'm going to come back through and I'm going to darken up my lines. Okay, all ready to go for fusion.